Today we are going to discuss a two-step process that anybody can use to gain instant respect. And it doesn't matter which situation you find yourself in, it doesn't matter how deteriorated your reputation is. At the end of the day, if you become really good at practicing this two-step process, you will be able to command respect. Watch the video till the end, because at the end we are going to discuss the 30-second rule that I use in order to take control of my emotions and to act as the situation requires. So, without any further delay, let's get started. Now, what we need to understand is that there is a quotation by Machiavelli where he says that it's better to be feared than to be loved when you cannot get both. Now, it's a very deep and profound quote, and it literally reflects the true nature of the human emotions, because we know that love is an uncontrollable emotion. Love is a very uncontrollable feeling. One day you have love for someone and you just want to die for these people. The next day something can happen and that love can turn into hate, and now you want to kill that person. But that is not the case with fear and respect, because when we respect someone, that respect is because of something, and especially if that respect has some sort of a tangible evidence, especially if we know that the person that we are dealing with has the potential to bring us an unimaginable kind of harm if we try to cross their boundaries. Now, I'm not talking about the harm in terms of physically hurting someone, and I'm not professing that. I'm not in the favor of that. What I'm trying to say is that these people should know that there is something which is unusual about you, that you're not the person to annoy, you're not the person to mess with, and you are not the person who should be harmed or disrespected in any shape or form. That should be the mission of your life, to gain such a reputation where people are unconsciously forced to have a sense of respect for you. Even if they're your friends or your enemies, they must know that messing with you is not going to bring them any kind of benefit. If you have that kind of a reputation, there is nothing in this world that can actually stop you from getting what you want in life. Now, the first step of this process is obviously going to take your self-control back, because from an evolutionary perspective, whenever we are in the face of adversity or whenever we are in the face of some uncomfortable situation, what's going to happen is that our physiology and our tonality is going to get out of our control. We will start shouting and we will start acting in ways where our body will try to gain some sort of an urgent relief. And whenever something is trying to force you to make an urgent decision, that means that you are now vulnerable to psychological and emotional manipulation. And it is not favorable to you in any shape or form. So what you need to do is that whenever you are in such a situation where somebody is disrespecting you, you will see that your defensive mechanism will be triggered and you will want to defend yourself in an aggressive manner. So when you're doing that, you have already lost the game, because these people have won. They wanted to gain a reaction from you and you have given it. Now, it doesn't matter what you do, you have lost the war. So what you need to do is that you need to take control of your physiology, and you don't have to take control of each and everything which is happening in your body, your hands, your legs. You don't have to do any of that. The fastest and the quickest way to gain control over your physical response is to take control of your heartbeat, which means that you will see that whenever you're in a stressful situation, your heart will start beating like a fast supercar. So what you need to do is that you have to breathe heavily, or you have to breathe consciously, and you have to focus on your heart, and you have to bring it to its normal beating rate. You must keep focusing on your heart until it doesn't come back to its normal pace. If you do that, 50% of the job is done, because now you have taken control over your physiology. You will see that your body will start calming down. Your body will start becoming more and more grounded. And once you do that, before you utter any words, what you need to understand is that the conversation that you're going to have, it doesn't matter how bad it goes, your tone of voice must be absolutely soft. We call it the late night FM DJ voice. Now, in this voice, it comes from your stomach and it doesn't have any kind of defensive or any kind of aggressive tendencies into it. I can say to you, fuck you, in the late night FM DJ voice, and it is not going to hurt as much as it is going to be if I say it with genuine conviction, fuck you. Now, you see the major difference between both of these tonalities, which means that your tone of voice is going to set the temperature of the interaction. And if you control your physiology and you control your tonality, that means that you are literally in control of the conversation that you're having with the other person. Now, in the second step, in order to implement the second step, you will have to do some work, which means that you must be absolutely clear on what your values and principles are in your life and how do you want to live your life. Because whenever we want to be successful, people are always telling us that we must know what is the price of that success. We must know that what are we willing to sacrifice for it. But there is another important question which is quite opposite to it, and it is that what is the thing in our life that we are not willing to sacrifice in order to get the thing that we are after? That's the question that nobody asks. So ask yourself, what are your non-negotiables? What are the values and the principles that you have in your life that you're not willing to sacrifice for any kind of success? Once you have that question, once you have the answer to this question in your mind absolutely clear, now you're ready to deal with anyone. Because whenever somebody is trying to disrespect you, now you know that what your values and principles are, and you know at that particular moment that when that person is trying to cross any kind of boundary. So when you know that, you will be able to tell them. And now it is going to be a response instead of reaction, because it is a calculated act on your part. And there is a difference between reaction and response, because reaction is predictable. When somebody reacts, they are reacting as their enemies anticipated while they were deciding to take a particular action. But response is something which is totally unpredictable because it is calculated. You know that you're going to give this kind of reaction or this kind of response. That means that you have calculated it, and now it has a very less probability of bringing any kind of harm to you, especially the harm that your enemy envisioned for your future. You're not going to have that. So what's going to happen is that in the second step, you need to set boundaries. And then you have to convey those boundaries to that person. It doesn't matter how right that person is. It doesn't matter how well is he with his ability to argument and he's telling you that you're logically wrong. Tell those people that they will have to convey all those things in a tone of respect. And if they don't, you will have to cut all your attention ruthlessly. You will not be interacting with those people until they don't comply the simple thing that they have to deal with you with respect. Now, if they comply, you're going to reward them with your attention. And if they don't, you will have to cut your attention completely. Now, these are the two-step processes that you need to take. Now, let's talk about the bonus step. This bonus step is a skill. I call it the 30-second rule. If you can develop this skill in your life is going to become much, much peaceful. Which means that whenever there is something which is happening in your life which requires a direct response, and you know that giving a direct response in this situation is going to ruin your chances of success, follow the 30-second rules. Which means that whenever some kind of emotional and psychological agitation is felt by you, you must stop and don't act for at least 30 seconds, because your enemy is trying to gain a response from you. If you don't give them that response, they're absolutely powerless. So start from 10 seconds and take it to 1 minute. The appropriate length is 30 seconds, because in 30 seconds, most of the times you gain your rationality back and your emotions actually cease to control your logic and control your consciousness. So whenever somebody is forcing you to give them a yes or no answer, you must take a long silence. And that's the only war in which inaction can be your biggest ally. So the first step is that you need to take control of your physiology and your tonality. And number two, you need to know what your values and principles are. And then you're going to communicate those values and principles to the next party. And then you're going to reward them or punish them according to their response. And in both of these steps, the best ally that you're going to have is your silence, because you're going to start that conversation with a 30 seconds silence. So now you have the two-step process and you have the bonus step. Use them for the next 30 days. Do some homework. Tell yourself that these are your non-negotiables, these are your values and your principles, and then have the ability to convey and communicate those values and principles to other people in a respectable and composed fashion. And once you have that, guard your values and principles with your life, because that's the only way that you can keep other people's respect for you. And if you don't have respect, you don't have a life. Till the next time, peace.